Alright, so again, I forgot to tape, so I will retape tonight, but what I would like everyone to do, for now, we're not going to use the controllers for a couple minutes, but we are going to use them. You'll notice if you open up your Views folder, please, that you now have a Cart Views folder, a Login Views folder, a Registered Views folder, and a Shared Views, and a Shop Views folder. Alright, you've got all those. So, what we're going to do is we're going to open up each one of those new ones. It doesn't matter the order in which you do it, but again, I'll just do it in alphabetic order. I'm going to right mouse click here on my Cart folder. I'm right mouse clicking on my Cart folder, and I'm choosing Add, View. I right mouse clicked on my Cart folder under Views, and I'm choosing Add, View. I'm going to call this Index. Alright. I'm not going to worry about anything else on here. Make sure the use a layout page is checked. Alright, we're going to do that next. Alright, so it should look like this. Once it does, just click Add. These are going to be unbelievably simplistic pages for right now. Alright, all I want you to do is change that from index to shopping cart page. That's it. For now, that's all we're doing. You'll see why in a couple of minutes. So again, I right mouse clicked on my cart folder under Views. I right mouse clicked, I chose Add a New View, called it Index, and I put it right there. Now I'm going to do the same thing with Login. Right mouse click on Login, Add, View. Again, I'm going to call it Index. Again, I'm going to make sure the Use a Layout page is checked. I'm going to click Add, and then here I'm going to put in Login page. Alright, I'm going to do it 2 more times. Once for Register, and I'll put in the text Register page, and once for Shop. Alright, and what do we put in here? I don't like shopping cart page. That should be under Shop. Go back, please, to your cart and just call it, I don't even like cart page. Let's call it product page. So go back to your cart. We're going to change it anyway, so don't worry about it. But go back to your cart under your index and just say product page. I think that looks better. All right. The login again says login page. The register, I'm going to create that right now. Right mouse click on the register folder under Views. Choose Add and View. Again, I'm going to call it Index. Again, it's empty without model. And I'm sure I've got the Use a Layout page checked. I'm clicking Add. And in here, I'm going to have this say Register page. All right. Then I'm going to do it one more time. All right. And, okay. Go back, if you would. Go back to your cart. That is our shopping cart. I apologize. Yeah, that's our cart. That's why it says cart. All right. Products page will be the last one that we add inside of Shop in just a minute. All right, I'll go back over all of them in just a second. Add, View. This is in Shop. Again, it's Index. All right. Again, they'll use the layout page. And this one is just going to say Products page. So taking it from the top, under Views, we added Cart, and we put their shopping cart page. We added a login view. They're all called Index, and it says Login page. We added a Register, Index view, and we said Register page. Under the Shop, we added another Index view, and we called it Products page. All right. If I confused anyone, I apologize. All right. It's been a while, so I'm going to do a file save all just so I'm sure I've got everything saved. All right. Now, can someone tell me, on every one of these we kept checked to choose a layout page. What file is associated with that? What file, if we want to go and have, basically set up a bunch of stuff in common, what file is it we're going to have to change? Does anybody remember? It's underneath shared, and it is our underscore layout .cshtml. All right. What we're going to do is, for now at least, we're literally going to grab and remove, I guess I can leave that content and stuff in here, but I'm going to remove the whole body that's in there. All right, I guess I'll need the render body, but I'll put that in later. So I'm just going to remove all of this stuff that's right here. For now, I'm just removing the entire body. All right. Now, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea in the title here, the view bag title, instead of myasp.net application, let's just put it the bike shop application. You're going to be creating it yourself. Abby wants to call it Abby's Bike Shop, then that's what that'll say there. I don't care. But for now, I just put something there. All right. Now I'm going to go into the body and I'm going to type. You'll see what we're doing, hopefully, in just a couple minutes. So div id equals header. Yeah, this is going to look kind of like it did back in the olden days when we, we're doing HTML. All right, there we go. And again, don't worry, you can change the name of this stuff anytime you want. Like I said, I'm just being about as vanilla or as generic as you can be. It's a thing about a bike shop, so I'm calling it the bike shop. I don't care what you call yours. All right, and under that, I'm going to put in another div. And yet another div. Now, I'm breaking a lot of rules in what I'm about to do. What I mean is, I'm going to throw in some inline CSS. I'm going to put my CSS right in here. I'm not putting it in styles. I'm not putting it in Bootstrap. Why? Because you're going to do that. All right? So right now, it'll work, but it's not the best way of doing things. And this is one of the things I'm going to ask you to change. All right? So div. And that's percent, not 20, 20%. There we go. Don't know why it didn't give me the other end of my div, but it didn't. When we get done with this, it's going to look unbelievably ugly. All right? I'm not asking you that. I'm telling you that. It's going to look really ugly because I want you to put your own spin on it. That's why it's purposely looking ugly. All right? So. And we're going to end up, in just a second, we're going to have 5 of these. So I'm just going to cheat. I'm going to change these, but I'm going to put them in like this. give you a second to catch up. There's only about 3 or 4 more lines we have to put in here. So. Hopefully, all of you remember this. You know, HTML.ActionLink is going to do that. It's going to create a hyperlink. The first parameter that you put in right here, that's the text on the link. So my links are going to say home, shop, cart, login, register. Those are my links. They are going to call the index method of the home controller, the index method of the shop controller, the index method of the cart controller, the index method of the login controller, and the index method of the register controller. Those are the ones that we just put in login page or register page or whatever. All right, you'll see those in action in about 5 minutes. All right, so let me put the rest in here. I won't move this other than move that up a little bit. So. And here is my add render body. And that is everything that we're putting into here. We're not done yet. We're not going to run this yet. We're not going to do anything yet. But we will in just a couple minutes. It should not be showing anything here in red. If it is, you might have an error someplace in your typing or wherever. I don't know. Not hearing a lot of typing. Does everybody have this? Yes? All right. Then what I want to do next is I want us to open up under Home. I want us to open up our index. Okay? You know what all this does. Okay, but for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm pretty much just going to remove everything that's in here other than my view bag title. All right, I went to my home folder under views, went to index, and removed everything but my view bag title. All right? All right. So I'm going to add a little bit of code in here. That's correct. I want to put in my beginning and my ending HTML tags. All right. Okay. Not sure why it did that, but yeah, okay. It says because I don't have a body yet. Well, we're going to fix that right now. So let's put in a head. You know this stuff because we've done this before. Put in our title. All right, that's it for the head section. And then we have to put in the body. Now, you're going to change this. Did you all hear me? You're not, what I'm about to put in here, this isn't going to be what you want. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put in my body tags. All right. And then what I'm going to do, notice my error went away, is in this body tag, I'm just going to put in a paragraph. All right. Then I'm going to go out. I've shown you this before. Doesn't matter where you go, but I'm going to go out to bicycle Lipsum right here. And I'm just going to tell it to give me a paragraph. Number of paragraphs, 1. All right. Sentences per paragraph, 5 sounds good. Okay, there it is. So I'm just going to grab this. Yours probably won't be the same as mine. Totally fine. Just again, because I'm actually a little bit anal about this stuff, I'm going to set it up so that I can see everything. You want to do that, you can. You don't have to. Again, possibly even by the end of the period today, you're going to change this anyway. All right, so that's what I've got in there right now. Just a paragraph. And guess what? I'm pretty much bland, so I'm going to put that in there a total of 3 times. So I've got my paragraph in there 3 times. Why? So now I can do a file, and I can do a save all. And I'm going to right mouse click on my home index page. I'm going to right mouse click on the file in the Solution Explorer and choose View in Browser. Okay, doesn't look very good, really doesn't, but you can see my stuff is there. Now, shop, products page, cart, shopping cart page, login, login page, register, register page. So I can now iterate my way through here. It looks really bad because I've got my browser at over 100%. There, that's it. That's 100 right there. Still doesn't look very nice. All right. But what we've done so far is we went in, we created 4 of our own controllers, shop, cart, login, and register. All we put in the associated view files were just an H2 tag telling us the page that we were on. Then we went back to our home page and we just set it up. So this is similar in nature. It's not identical, but it is similar in nature to the way we set up the Sports Store project. All right. All right. And what I want to do next, we went to the layout, we changed that. We went to the index for the home and we changed that. Now we're going to go in and we're going to just do a little bit of work today for the shopping cart controller. All right. And I'm sorry, we're going to go in right now and we're going to work with the shop controller. Okay, in just a second. So that's the one that comes up right here that says products page. Right now we just want it to do something. We're going to work on it some more tomorrow. All right, I just told Lauren during the break we're probably only going to go for about more than a half an hour yet. All right, then you're going to have time. Remember that a week from today, that blogger thing is due. And 2 weeks from today, part 1 of this is going to be due. So you're going to have 12 hours of lab time this week. All period Wednesday, all period Thursday, all period Friday. All right, and I believe next Monday, just so you know if you weren't aware of it, next Monday is day 40. So we are exactly halfway through the semester as of next Monday. And since I didn't do it with you, although I did all last year, but I haven't so far, is on Monday of next week, before we even go on, and we'll continue on, I'm going to meet with everybody across the hall like I did the last couple semesters, give you a piece of paper that has all of your grades on it, has your attendance on it, etc. All right, just to make sure you know exactly where you stand. All right, I do as far as I know, I do have everything graded right now. You may not agree with that. If you don't, then just let me know. All right? But the stuff on Inside Rankin should be up to date. With some of you, you didn't give me anything when there was an assignment due. And I mean, I can't give you any points for it because you didn't give me anything. So you got a 0. Now, if you say, well, no, I have it, then just give it to me. All right? Okay. So I'm going to stop the run here because I don't need it. All right? And I don't need this bicycle, ipsum, etc. So I'm going to go back here. All right? And the next thing I want to do is I want to go to my controllers so I can close my views for now. All right? I'm trying to keep this where you can see exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to go to controllers, and I'm going to open up my shop controller. All right? Now, there's a little bit of stuff that we have to do right here. This, if you remember when we run this, this is the thing that says products page. So it would be kind of nice to show our products. And that's what we're going to end up doing. All right? It'll look really clunky for right now. It'll look better tomorrow, but then the good news is it'll look really good after you go and fix it. All right? So what we want to do in here, and again, my hope is that by now, everything that's on this page makes sense. You notice we got a bunch of stuff in here that we are not currently using. If you want to, you can remove the unnecessary ones. Doesn't matter. All right? This is our namespace, which says controllers lives under our project name of sales orders, controllers. All right? This is the shop controller. All controllers inherit from the controller class. That controller class is defined in here. That's why you need that using statement. All right? Right now, all we have is this index method. We're going to add about 2 lines in here right now. All right? First one is, guess what? We're going to come in here and we're going to write a lambda expression. All right? But before we do that, we have to say this. Private well, that's not a great start. Oh, hold on. Let's see. I want to make sure I'm putting it in the right place. I am. Private sales orders context. Okay. Oh, I might have named that with a little s. I wish I wouldn't have done that, but I might have done that anyway. We'll see. Now, shouldn't be getting these errors. I'm trying to figure out why. Oh, I hate that error. Boy. It's exactly what I call the bottom. Well, let me check in my models. Orders model. It's not going to be right either. Okay. All right. Please go up to the top of your file here and add that using statement. The one that's in blue up at the top. Which again says that in my sales orders project, I want to use something that's in the models folder. All right. Then you can add this line, and it should work okay. So the new lines that I added were this one and that one. So line 1 and line 8. Right? We have one more line to add, and then we're going to change this return statement a little bit in just a second. Does everybody have those two lines? Everybody has this line here and that line there, correct? Okay. All right, then come down into here, into your index method. And again, we have to add literally two lines. Now, first thing, we're creating our own variable. I'm just calling it data because that's a common name, but you can call it anything you want. Make this error. There we go. So what doesn't it like here? Show potential fixes. Does not contain a definition for select. It's interesting. Okay. All right. I got an error when I did mine. It's interesting because the first time I did it, I didn't get an error. But I believe one of the using statements that I got rid of was this one. Using system.link. We are writing a link statement in line 14. So since we are writing a link statement, we need to use system.link. So please make sure your lines 1, 2, and 3 look like mine do. All right. We'll talk about the statement and what it's doing in just a minute, but we don't want to just return a view. We want to return a view, and we want our data to be in there. Right? And I'm going to, literally in about 30 seconds, go over what both those lines mean. There we go. Again, line 14 is a link statement. And what it's telling us is it wants us to go through, this is our context. This is how we're hooking up to the products table. And we're saying from the products table, we want you to select all the product names and give them to us in alphabetic order based on the product name. So it's really going to select everything from the products table, and it's going to give it back to us in the alphabetic order based on the product name. All right? And if it doesn't make sense, ideally when you see it in action in a few minutes, it'll make more sense. All right? Now, right now, if we ran it, it wouldn't do too much. All right? Because the view, remember, all the view says is products page. So even though we told it to show every product here, we have to make updates now to the view in order for it to be able to show that stuff. All right, so that's what I'm going to do right now, and I'm going to cut it off right after I do that. So we're going to write a little bit of code. It's not a lot, but it's, I don't know how many lines. Well, we're going to write some code. All right. And then we're going to talk about the handout that I gave you. Because this is, basically we're going to do some more stuff tomorrow. All right. Then you'll have the rest of the week as lab. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We're going to do next week the same kind of way. We'll go on, and I'll give you some more stuff that'll end up being part 2. That'll end up being due later. Then the next week we'll do part 3. All right. But you're going to get at least 3 days of lab. All right, for the next 3 weeks. All right, so I've got all this stuff in here. What I want to do next now is I want to start adding some stuff into my view, into my views, and under my views, into my shop index view. All right. Now, you may or you may not remember this, but when we started to work with this stuff, one of the things we had to do typically at the top was we had to have an @model statement, and that's what we're putting in here. It's an enumerable, which means it can return virtually just about anything. All right, and then we have to tell it what? We have to give it the name of our project, which is sales orders, .models, .product. Now, when I get off this line, I was going to say it shouldn't give me an error. Now, right now, if you look up on the screen here, right now, it's not a very good title. All right, so I'm going to change that. Again, do you have to? What I'm going to expect when this thing is all done is not only does it run, not only does it give correct output, etc., but it looks professional. And every aspect of it will look professional. So I said here, sales orders, products page. Again, if you don't like that, then just change it to something else. And this H2 here I changed to the bike shop products page.
Which one are you exactly?
I am underneath in views. I am in the shop folder under views and in the index.cshtml. As I already told you, when we first do this, this is going to look pretty ugly. Don't worry about that. All right, we'll fix it. So I'm coming in here, and the first thing I want to do, and this is the first, for lack of better words, I'm giving you a hint right here. You are going to have to add Bootstrap. Bootstrap has a built-in class named table. That'll do some work for your table. It'll put like a very soft, light-colored line between each entry in the table. But since we haven't included Bootstrap, we removed all that stuff earlier. You're going to have to go back and add it back in. All right. So we're going to make a table here, and we're going to just create this from scratch. All right. So first thing we want to do here, and I'm sorry, that should have been a header. Why? Because we're creating headers now. It'll move it over for me. There. We have to tell it what we want it to show. So anytime you use a display name for, that's like a label. All right. This is one of those HTML helpers that we're using. That's creating the equivalent of a label. And we're going to have, because I just picked these out, we're going to have 4 of these. All right? So to make it simpler on myself, I'm going to just copy it in 4 times. Now I'm going to change these. I don't want all of them to say product name, but I put it in there 4 times. All right? So after the name, I'm going to put in the image. After the image, I'm going to put in the short description. Oops. All right, and after the short description, I'm going to put in the product price. All right, so that's what I have in there so far. And I don't remember why I did this, but I did it because they've been doing it throughout the book, and that is to just put in an empty table header at the end. All right, so I'll make this a little smaller so everybody can see all of it. All right, hopefully you guys can see that from back there. Okay, the only thing that's missing here on the bottom that you can't see is the ending table tag. We're not done. Those are that's like creating a form with labels and no text boxes. All right, so we're going to create that next. But I want everybody to catch up. I don't hear anything, so I'm taking for granted that everybody is pretty much caught up. All right, hopefully what you discovered was when you typed in model dot, the IntelliSense kicked in. All right, it's recognizing that stuff from what we put into the database before. We could have set this up. We could have set this up the way we did Sports Store. In other words, I could have just ended up creating some garbage data. We could have thrown it in there and done that and then used the database. I just decided to go right to the database. All right, you've already done a project where you did that, so I didn't think that would be a big stretch for anyone. All right, so those are our headings. Well, I'll have to look at it, but I want to get everything else put in first. All right, so I want to come back in here. And underneath that ending TR tag, remember if I start a statement with an @ sign, it means it's a razor statement. So what we're doing here is we're putting in a razor statement. All right? What we want to have happen is we only want the headings to print once, but we want each line of data to print. The reason I'm telling you that is our headings are not inside of the for each, because then we'd have the heading, the record, the heading, the record, the heading, the record. That would be kind of silly. You could do it, but it would probably make for some tough reading. So we're going to come in here and again, TR. All right, and we're going to have, these are TDs. And I'm taking for granted, maybe wrongfully so, that you remember this stuff from AWD1111 when we created tables, because that's what you're doing here. The TR was table row, TH were table headers, the TDs are table datas. All right, we did a display name for, which means heading. Now, what we want to do, and I'm just going to grab this because it's almost the same thing, is we don't want to say display name for. We want to say, whoops, we want to say display for. And what does that mean? All right, this will have to be the model item. All right, now why are you giving me an error? Oh, because it's just item. I don't know why I wrote model. All right. So this is going to tell us that we want to print the name of the product. Again, just like we did before, I'm going to come in here and copy it 4 times. All right. And we've got name. And after name, I'm going to put in image. And then after image, I'm going to put in description short. And after description short, I'm going to put in price. And hopefully, at least, hopefully, what we just did made some sense to you. We set up a table, but in the past, whenever we have set up tables and whenever we have put values into tables, we have done it by manually putting stuff in there. Now we're letting the database fill in our table information. We are truly in the middle of trying to design a database-driven website, which is what this class is supposed to be about. All right? Now, I have no idea if it's going to work or not, but it should. So I'm going to just do a file, save all. And right from where I am, I'm going to run it. And don't worry if it doesn't look exactly the way you think it will, or if it's ugly as hell, or whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's going to change a lot. All right? So when you look at this, it's funny because last time it didn't pick up my Bootstrap table. Here it did. Okay. Now notice for the images, it's not showing us the image. We're not going to worry about that right now. That's the path to the image. And notice for the description short, every one of those is set up to null. Just so you know, every one of those is set up to null. Now, right now the product price, it's not formatted really at all. Okay, it is formatted as a decimal. Since it's automatically giving us this data, if you look on the screen here, since it's automatically giving us this data, let's just say that you're real anal about this and what you want more than anything else. All right, that what you want is you want a $sign there. Okay, I can't give you the commas right now, but you want the $sign. If you really want that, then you can stop the run, go back to here where you've got the price, and before you've got your @HTML, literally put a $sign right there. So if you do that, notice if I do that and I run it again, now I've got $signs. Now, is that big a thing? No. But you'll notice, now we can go to the home page, and now we can go to the shop page. This is by no means done. But I think it's a pretty good start for one class period. All right? And we're just going to keep working on this. What I'm doing is I'm starting to go ahead, and I pretty much have got it done, but I'm going to other chapters that are in the book, and I would like to be able to have us add stuff, for example, using Ajax. You may or may not know what Ajax is, and it's not that big a thing. All right? I'd like us to be able to at least possibly look at Web API and a few of the other things. And towards the end of the semester, I don't know when, but the last chapter in our book is on SPAs, single page applications. I'd like us to be able to build an SPA. All right. So if you'd please look up on the screen here. I'm just going to leave all that stuff up there, but I'm going to bring up, this is the handout. You've got it right in front of you. All right. So notice, due 2 weeks from today by the end of class. All right. I don't want there to be any doubt about that. All right. So as it says, when asked, if you're asked to provide professional content, part of your grade will be on how professional it is. All right. And I gave you examples of that before. If I asked you to write down somebody's name and you wrote Donald Duck, that would be not funny. I want the stuff that goes in here to be at least somewhat professional. All right? All right. Now, I already said this, create the GitHub repository and the ASP.NET project. I said bike shop. I guess we called it sales orders. That's fine. Sales orders. I don't care. All right. Version both of these daily. So get used to going into your Team Explorer, saving this, giving it a comment, and pushing it back out to your GitHub repository. All right. So, no flash drives. First, add a short description for each product. Right now, both the short description and the long description are null. And it's not that I pulled them out. They were null in the actual database that we were working with. So I'm going to ask you to fill them in. How do you do that? Well, I mean, I guess a way to start, you know, you've got 40 products in your table. I'm going to stop the run here. And if you look up on the screen, these right here under content, images, these are your 40 products. You've got an Aero Flow ATB wheels, Clear Shade, which is spelled wrong, 85T glasses, etc. You've got all those. All right? So how do you get those? If nothing else, for a short description, just write a sentence or two. All right? I started doing it yesterday, but all I wrote down was short description, long description. They all look the same, and that looks really bad. It actually looked better with nothing on it than it did showing short description 40 times. All right? So I'm asking you to go in and write a short description. How do you do that? I don't just go out to a bike shop, go out wherever. I don't know. I didn't do it. All right, but that's the first thing I'm asking you to do. Then, I'm asking you to do the same thing for the long description. Don't do those yet because I'm going to have you format those. I'll show you tomorrow how I want them to be formatted. Because it's going to let me show you a couple different ways that you can print stuff out. All right, and that is using what's called the raw command and not using it. I don't want to talk about it right now. All right, but you'll notice the whole thing's worth 150 points. This is part 1. This is 10 points of it. This is 25 points of it. All right, next, there are 6 things you are to do with Bootstrap. Let's look at those. Number 1, make that switchboard, the thing that's got the 4 or 5 links in there, the home link, the cart link, the shopping link, the register link, and the login link, do very similar to what we did in the sports store project. Make them look like buttons. It's very, you know, and if you say, I have no idea how to do that, then go to getbootstrap.com and look for an example, because you can take a hyperlink and make it into a button in Bootstrap. They show you the code to do it. Shouldn't be hard. All right. Next, make the table look more professional. Now, I'm not going to lie to you here. Table really didn't look that bad. All right. I'm going to run this one last time here. This table that we ran didn't look terrible, but let's talk about how it could be improved. All right. Well, I don't like these words running together. Do you really need product name, considering it's a products page? Or could you just say name here? Could you just say image here? Could you, etc. That kind of thing. That's what I'll be looking for. Plus, let's face it, right now it's a very bland looking site. My hope is that you will, on the home page, you put a video out here if you want to. It's not hard to do. All right, you can add a video, you can make your own video, you can grab one from online, whatever. Or just be real leery about grabbing stuff. I don't want it where you grab something and you get sued. I don't want me to get sued either. All right. So add back in your nav bar, which you had originally, and add the links for the about page and the contact page. I want you to make an about page for this site. What should have in it? Whatever you think it should have in it. I want you to make a contact page. I gave you an example on the back page. This is just a simple contact form I made in about 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, it doesn't have to look like this. It can be anything basically you want. I don't want it to have 2 fields in it. Sign up for our newsletter, yes or no? That's not a contact page. It should be a page that asks the person for information. Now, it should also do validation. How? There's different ways you can do validation. You can put the validation mainly in the HTML. You can add some JavaScript and do validation. You can add some jQuery and do some validation. Does all this make sense to everybody? I had mentioned to you last semester that the idea behind this class is it's supposed to be, for lack of better words, a hybrid class that combines what you did in the first 2 classes. That's what I'm attempting to do here. To teach you some new material that's ASP.NET specific, but then to take that, absorb that material, and bring it in and combine it with C#, Bootstrap, HTML5, CSS3, and possibly some JavaScript. All right. So let's look at the rest of this. Replace the inline CSS, so the stuff I put in there. I put into the layout. Well, boy, that's real hard. You have to sit there and add IDs and classes. I had them in there originally, but I took them out. I thought, you can do that. Add Bootstrap classes to the page links. All right, what does that mean? It means tomorrow we're going to add pagination to this. All right, and you may or may not agree with this, but if we come here and we go here, that looks, what does look kind of bad is there's 40 products there. What we're eventually going to want to do is not only to paginate, but to allow the user, like we did in the sports store, that they're going to be able, up here in your nav bar, will have something like a text box that says category. Or maybe a drop down that says category. All right? Then they'll be, have the 6 categories there, and then there'll be a search over here too. So like I said, in some ways, it is going to be similar. So you might say, okay, it's going to be so. Then why the hell are we doing it? Because it's one thing to take a project out of a book and say, yeah, we did this as a class. And it's another thing to say, and then we did this, and it's mine. I gave it my colors, I gave it my fonts, I gave it my logic. I put on the home page, the about page, I made my own contact form. I went to the about page, I put in my own material. I went to the home page, I put in my material. So in an ideal world, if all 11 of you were applying for the same job and you all showed the same thing, all 11 websites would look different. All right. All right. Anything else? I made a new word up. That's bootstrappy. So anything else that you want to add that either uses Bootstrap or CSS that just starts to make this look more professional. You may decide when we are in the first part of this, because there are going to be at least 3 parts to this. There might be up to 5. All right, but you might decide on fonts. You might decide on colors, and later you might think, I really wish I would have picked. Then change the font. All right, change the color. I personally, I would like you to go out to Google Fonts, because then you'll be able to pick fonts. Last time I went out there, there's like 958 or 9 different fonts. Plus, when you pick a font, they usually say, this font goes together well with this one. So you might want to use one font for your headers and another font for your text. All right? However you want to set it up. We'll talk about the partial views. You may or may not remember this, but I wanted you to go back and look at stuff that was in that sports store project. And in there, one of the things that the author did was to go back and say, hey, let's take this view that we created. It's kind of long. Let's make it a partial view. All right, so we'll go back and take a look at that. And then finally, again, this form. All right, says add real content to your home page, 15 points, your about page, 15 points, your contact page, 15 points. Adding that up or multiplying 15 by 3, you get 45. So again, 10 points for the short description, 25 for the long descriptions, 60 for the bootstrapping, 10 for the partial views, 45 points for making your pages look good. And I want to say this one more time. Let's say that Luke turns his in. He's met every single requirement, but he decides between the first part of this and the second part, he really doesn't like the way his about page looks, and he wants to totally redesign it. Then do that. That's totally fine. Anyone have any questions on anything? Is everybody all caught up to this point? I know I'll help you because you said you had anybody else? All right. Yes. Okay, then I'm going to help Chris, and then I'll come over by you. All right? All right, then the rest of the period, like I said, is yours. And again, I'll have to go and grab a flash drive, but if you were not here last week, this is what I gave out, all right? And everybody got an electronic copy of this. Is there anybody who needs a hard copy who doesn't have one? You don't? Okay, I'll just bring on about 3 of them. And like I said, I'll go back then and I'll grab the information that I gave out last week. I've got it on a folder here someplace, and I'll give you the flash drive, so if you need it, you can have that.